So redlining, federally mandated or sustained by the FHA, right? Separating Black Americans to specifically impoverished and relegated areas of the country. We are incapable of buying homes and putting equity into neighborhoods with lower crime rates and better educational systems. We do not have access to things that would uplift and help our community. When you are put in an environment that promotes and reinforces social and economic inequality, you become desperate and are forced to do things that maybe don't align with your values.
All right, first, the term redlining itself did not exist during the 1930s or the 1940s. It was coined decades later by activist John McKnight as a descriptive label, not an official government policy. To really thoroughly understand what happened, we must start in the late 1800s. There was massive immigration from Ireland, Southern and Eastern Europe, combined with rapid industrialization, which overwhelmed the cities. Housing shortages exploded and tenant slums became common for whites and non-whites alike. Reformers like Jacob Riis, in his book How the Other Half Lives in 1890, exposed the conditions and pushed the country towards housing reform. Fast forward to the Great Depression. In 1933, the federal government created Homeowners Loan Corporation to prevent mass foreclosures. In the mid-1930s, the Homeowners Loan Corporation produced neighborhood maps grading mortgage risks from A to D. The lowest rated areas, colored red, were considered financially risky. Yes, many minority neighborhoods were included, but so were large numbers of poor white neighborhoods.
And here is Mr. Burner.
I reckon the conditions of living in these little slums is a bit hard for the wife, and besides myself and my children, bringing them up in the one room. Of course, a lot of people don't understand what it is living in one room. The cooking conditions is very hard.
These maps assess economic risks, not race. Neither were they ever binding in law or binding on private lenders. At the same time, New Deal programs like the Public Works Administration built public housing to clear slums and provide jobs.
It's war on slums, a battle with dirt and disease. The US follows Britain's lead, but they do it their own way. Think of the skill of the man on the crane guiding this 1.5-ton pendulum of destruction.
Again, affecting poor communities of all races. Now let's address this claim that banks primarily deny loans based on racism. Well, luckily the evidence does not substantiate, neither supports that. There was a Federal Reserve 1992 Boston study which analyzed over 30 lending variables, and it found that the loaning approval differences were explained by credit history, income, and debt, not race. A reanalysis was done and found that black-owned banks lent less to black businesses than white banks. What? Again, assessing for risk factors. So legally, redlining didn't even survive long. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 outlawed all housing discrimination. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974, Home Mortgage Disclosure Act of 1975, and the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977 further prohibited any discriminatory lending and pressured banks to invest in low-income areas. Bottom line, redlining was not about a secret race plot. It wasn't permanent, and it is not the primary cause of modern-day inequality. It was a temporary risk-based assessment based upon credit, income, and debt. And today is being repeatedly misrepresented by activists who want to collapse economics into ideology.
Redlining people of color out of home ownership, and it continues today with restrictive and exclusionary zoning policies.
From redlining to the way that has transformed into and accumulated and built into the eventual 2008 subprime loan crisis, because it was Black and brown and low-income communities that were especially targeted with subprime loans.
When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate Black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really existed at all. I mean, no, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist, and stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist. Redlining absolutely exists.
Redlining is still there. Just because you don't see the red lines on the map doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It still exists.
So it still
what do you want to say?
Does that sound like Satan? That doesn't sound good.